Today's top stories. The proclamation of winning senators and party lists is once again postponed as the National Board of Canvassers await one remaining certificate of canvass. The National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, is pushing for the immediate release of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or RCEF. Telco companies assure that their service is unaffected by trade woes. And Iloilo School's Brigada Escuela is being held with a twist.
Good day. I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The proclamation of winning senators and party lists on Tuesday is once again postponed as the National Board of Canvassers await one remaining certificate of canvass. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez explained that the board is currently canvassing certificate of canvass from Saudi Arabia, COCs from Washington, D.C., United States, which represent for more than 200,000 registered voters, are also being awaited this afternoon. Jimenez said they can determine the final date of proclamation tonight when the COCs from Washington is submitted. He said they are still eyeing a joint proclamation, but there is a possibility of separate proclamations for senators and party lists on worst-case scenario. The proclamation of the winning candidates will be held at the NBOC Command Center in the Philippine International Convention Center. Red carpets have been laid out in preparation for the proclamation of winning bets. The Department of Transportation is set to award the contract for the procurement of trains for the North-South Commuter Railway Project's Tutuban to Malolos segment by end of May or early June. The contract is set to be awarded to the Sumitomo J-Trek Consortium for the procurement of 13 train sets with 8 cars each. The DOTR also plans to acquire 38 train sets for the Malolos-Clark segment within the third quarter of this year and 7 train sets for the Airport Express trains, which will run up to 160 kilometers per hour from Clark International Airport to Buendia in 55 minutes. The 147-kilometer North-South Commuter Railway project is estimated to cost around 777.55 billion pesos. It will have 36 stations from Clark International Airport to Calamba, Laguna to be funded through official development assistance by JICA. Senate President Tito Soto is expected to keep his post when the 18th Congress opens. Senate President pro tempore Ralph Recto said the leadership of the chamber is unlikely to change after incumbent senators agreed to retain Soto's presidency. Recto said he expects at most 20 senators to support Soto. Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri also noted that presumptive senators have already expressed support for the incumbent Senate President. For his part, Soto said no senator has so far expressed interest to replace him. Zubiri said the Senate will only reorganize committee chairmanships since some senators are expected to vacate their posts on June 30th. The Senate will be dominated by 20 majority bloc senators, with 4 senators comprising the minority bloc. The PNP has protested the jokes of an American stand-up comedian who lambasted President Duterte's drug war. And the Department of National Defense is thankful for the approval of the ROTCB bill. More on these and other news around the metro from Janice Cave.
PNP Chief General Oscar Albayalde rebuked on Monday American stand-up comedian Hassan Minhaj for allegedly putting the Philippines in a bad light. Minhaj was accused of attacking President Duterte's drug war in his Netflix show Patriot Act. Albayalde said that while he respects the jokes in some programs, hosts and other people behind the program should also be responsible for their content. Meanwhile, the Department of National Defense thanked the House of Representatives for approving on second reading House Bill 8961, which implements the teaching of mandatory ROTC for grades 11 and 12. DND spokesperson Arsenio Andolong said the move will teach the youth nationalism, respect for human rights, and how to be law-abiding citizens. In other news, some senators are unsure whether the proposed measure to raise taxes on alcohol and tobacco would be passed with just 9 days left before Congress adjourns. Senate President Tito Soto said the bill had yet to be approved at the committee level and many senators intended to raise questions. Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri reasoned that several senators have taken exception to President Rodrigo Duterte's veto of 6 to 7 revenue measures despite being backed by the DOF. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Still to come, Health Department assures that synthetic acetic acid on vinegar is safe and that the product is mislabeled. NEDA is pushing for the immediate release of RCEF for farmers. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Question from Ellen Mondes Cruz of Tokyo Shimbun. What is President Duterte's economic agenda in his upcoming visit to Japan?
So apart from the overall, of course, the macroeconomic reforms, and certainly the president is expected to push for greater bilateral trading and investment relationship. I mean, with Japan. If he is addressing the Japanese market and investors, certainly we expect more Japanese trade deals. And Japan has been a big investor in the Philippines. We'd like to invite more of them. So far we have received a lot of letters of intent that intend to invest and expand their investment in the Philippines, because many of those big Japanese companies are already in the Philippines. So they have submitted to us a list of, I guess, their intention, a list of industries that they will enter into. Some new industries, data analytics, we see manufacturing, infrastructure, electronics as the current indication that we're receiving. And we expect to receive more until we leave for Japan by the end of the month.
From Bernadette Nicolas of Business Mirror and Celerino Monte of Manila Shimbun, are we expecting new agreements to be signed?
At this point in time, I think that meeting is still being arranged. There's no final word yet on that one. I think the Office of the President is still arranging that, so I'm not aware yet of any final arrangement. But I would say typically on a normal, on a normal visit, there is always that attempt to have that bilateral meeting, because they're good friends. We've seen that even from the visit of Prime Minister Abe in the home of our president in Davao. And we expect a continuing discussion on many things. And it includes a lot of cooperation, not only on the economic, trade, and investment, but as you know, security cooperation, anti-terrorism, and all that. These are things that both leaders would update each other on and reconfirm their commitment. No, but I won't preempt. Of course, there's no final word yet on that one.
Meanwhile, an investigation is still underway on the so-called fake vinegar or vinegar brands made out of synthetic acetic acid. Health Undersecretary Eric Domingo said these vinegars are not exactly unsafe, but will have to be probed for mislabeling. A study by the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, or PNRI, reveals that 8 out of 10 vinegar brands are made out of synthetic acetic acid rather than fermented coconut sap or sugarcane. Agriculture Secretary Emmanuel Piñol said the PNRI study on local vinegar was endorsed to the Food and Drug Administration as early as March 2018, but it appears that the recommendation was not picked up by the agency. For his part, Domingo said there are currently no indications that this is connected to the termination of Nela Charade Puno as FDA chief. The National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, is pushing for the immediate release of the 10 billion peso Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or RCEF. NEDA Undersecretary Rosemarie Edilion said the RCEF needs to be released fast to help modernize and boost the productivity of rice farmers in time for the wet season, or at least during the ongoing dry season. RA 11203, or the Rice Tariffication Law, mandates the establishment of an RCEF that guarantees the rice sector financial support annually for the next 6 years beginning 2019. Agriculture Secretary Emmanuel Piñol on Monday said 3 billion pesos of the RCEF is allocated for inbred seeds to be handled by the Philippine Rice Research Institute and 1 billion pesos for credit. The remaining 1 billion pesos is earmarked for technical skills development. RCEF is said to be included in the tech budget hearing held today by the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Budget and Management, or DBM. After back-to-back price rollbacks this month, local oil companies announced they are raising prices once again. Petron, PTT Philippines, Sea Oil, Petrogas, and Flying V increased this morning the prices of unleaded gasoline by 0.90 centavos per liter, diesel by 0.80 centavos per liter, and kerosene by 0.75 centavos per liter. Oil executives said that the latest oil price hike simply tracks the currency direction of the world crude market, which is being reflected locally. They emphasized that this upward price adjustment is revenue neutral for local oil firms because it does not affect their bottom line. The city government of Iloilo seeks assistance from the Department of Science and Technology regarding the reported oil spill in Barangay Santo Niño Sur in Arevalo District over the weekend. Iloilo City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Officer Donna Magno said they learned about the oil spill along their coastline around noontime of May 18. The City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, City Environment and Natural Resources Office, and the Philippine Coast Guard responded to the area. A cleanup operation was immediately conducted with around 150 volunteers responding to their call for help, who were able to gather around 7 to 8 sacks of tar balls. Initial reports say the oil spill could be a discharge or end product of a vessel that passed by the area. Magno assured that the oil spill no longer poses a health hazard. The Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council recognizes the Gawad Kalasag awardees in Central Luzon for their contribution in disaster preparedness. These and other news from the provinces from Benj Bondal.
In Pampanga, the province and its 2 cities were declared winners of the 21st Regional Gawad Kalasag by the Central Luzon Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council on Monday. For the 6th consecutive year, the Pampanga PDRRMC emerged as winner in the provincial category level. Also proclaimed winners are Angeles City for the highly urbanized city category and San Fernando City for component city category. The awarding of the winners is scheduled in July in line with the observance of the National Disaster Resilience Month. In Dumaguete City, a fire razed 13 houses in Purok Hermelina, Barangay Bagakay on Sunday. 21 families were displaced by the fire, which is said to be caused by defective electrical wirings or appliances. The victims were immediately evacuated to the barangay hall while some returned on Monday to clean up their homes. In Isabela, the special elections were successfully done in Barangay Dicamay in the town of Jones. PNP spokesperson Bernard Banak said voting was closed yesterday at 6 in the evening and all election paraphernalia were delivered to the Municipal Board of Canvassers at 7:30 in the evening. The election was suspended after armed men burned the barangay's 2 vote counting machines on election day. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Filipinos are urged to remain vigilant after Saudi authorities have reportedly intercepted 2 alleged Houthi ballistic missiles heading towards Makkah and Jeddah on Monday. In an advisory, the Philippine Consulate General in Jeddah asked all Filipinos living in the city and nearby areas to remain calm but vigilant for any eventualities. Filipinos in these areas are further advised to limit unnecessary visits to government offices and public places unless urgent. Citing reports from Saudi authorities, the consulate said these missiles were intercepted over Taif, 50 kilometers away from Makkah or Mecca. Up next, telecom companies assures the public that their service is unaffected by the ongoing trade woes, and the missing plane is found in the Mindoro Strait. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Sa refrigerator, kailangan ito hindi mahirapang magpalamig. Maaaring hindi nyo napapansin. Pero ang refrigerator, ang tanging appliance na walang tigil. Ang ilaw, electric fan, TV, computer at iba pa, ino-off pag hindi ginagamit. Pero ang ref, tuloy-tuloy lang. 24 oras, araw-araw, tuloy-tuloy ang konsumo sa kuryente. Hanggat maaari, hindi kami sobrang bukas-sara. Planado ang mga ilalabas at ipapasok para sabay-sabay magawa ito. Pagka kasi ang ugali ay ganare, kuha ng kamatis, tapos bukas uli, kuha ng tubig, tapos bukas na naman, kuha ng isda. Maya-maya, kailangan din pala yung karne. And then, pasok ang pitsil ng tubig. Sara uli. Teka, may tirang ulam pala na iinitin. Ay, bukas uli. Minsan pa, may amnesia. Pagbukas ng ref, tititig ng matagal, nalimutan kung ano ang kukunin. Close open ng close open. Nako! Ang lamig ng ref, singaw ng singaw. Kaya ang motor nito, sige lang ng sige sa andar. Ay ano pa nga ba? Ay di lalakas ang konsumo. Common sense lang yun. And please laang, ang ref ay hindi aircon o electric fan. Para sa pagkain at inumin lang ito. Hindi para palamigin tayo. Kaya para mapababa ang konsumo sa kuryente ng ref, dapat hindi ito mahirapang magpalamig nang ang motor nito ay hindi todo-todo ang andar.
Sa paggamit ng refrigerator, i-diskarte mo. I-power mo, i-safety mo, i-secure mo, i-diskarte mo.
Telco companies on Monday said Huawei devices on their networks would be unaffected by U.S. companies' move out to cut supply ties with the Chinese giant. Globe Telecom assures its customers that the current situation at Huawei will not impact its network services. Google earlier suspended its hardware and software supplies to Huawei in compliance with an order from Washington. However, it says Android services or existing Huawei devices would keep functioning. PLDT and Smart said they will also work closely with Huawei in addressing concerns regarding future firmware and software updates for phones, pocket Wi-Fi units, and other devices. Huawei is the world's largest vendor of telecommunications equipment and the second largest vendor of smartphones. A trainer aircraft that went missing after its takeoff on Friday has been found. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, said on Monday that the wreckage of the Beechcraft Baron 55 trainer aircraft was located at some 43 kilometers south of the Mindoro Strait. However, the two passengers, Captain Jose Nelson Yaparcon and student pilot Abdullah Al-Sharif, are still missing. CAAP spokesperson Eric Apolonio said the trainer aircraft operated by Orient Aviation took off from the San Jose airport and went missing. Apolonio said search and retrieval operations are ongoing since the passengers have yet to be found. The PBA Commissioner's Cup opened on Sunday at the Mall of Asia Arena with a huge win by Blackwater Elite on overtime against the Meralco Bulls. Alex Stephenson scored 21 points and 31 rebounds to help Blackwater under new interim head coach Aris Di Maunahan get past the Bulls. Ray Parks made his debut for the Elite with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Gani Lawal notched the game-high 34 points and 21 rebounds with 3 steals for Meralco. Meanwhile, the Alaska Aces took their first win in the conference after pushing back Colombian Jeep in the third quarter. Chris Daniels debuted with 25 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal for Alaska. Chris Banchero added 20 points and 2 rebounds off the bench. Kyle Barron made 31 points, 22 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, and 1 steal for Colombian before Alaska fought back. Brigada Escuela has kicked off in schools nationwide, but one school in Iloilo City also prepares not only its facilities but also its students. Janice Cave has the story.
In Lambunao, Iloilo City, a central school is not only physically preparing for the formal opening of classes this June 3. The Don Eugenio Ladrido Memorial Elementary School laced its Brigada Escuela with other activities to prepare its pupils and their academics and health. Aside from cleanup and maintenance activities, a dental mission was held on Tuesday as well as literacy program for non-reading pupils. The school also offers basic computer literacy under the Alternative Learning System and Values Formation Seminar. The Philippine Army will be rendering services on May 25 to cap the week-long Brigada. Brigada Escuela kicked off with a caravan of stakeholders in tandem with the Lambunao National High School. Mayor Jason Gonzalez, in his message before the community activity, said his programs in education, such as trainings for teachers and workshops for children in Lambunao, will be sustained. Incoming Vice Mayor Arvin Losaria also assured the continued support of the local legislative body to the education sector. Delmes has a population of about 1,400 pupils. The school hoped to maintain its status as the #1 most outstanding elementary school in the division of Iloilo for 2 consecutive years. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Metro Manila is starting to experience rains in the evening, but it is still excruciatingly hot and humid during the day. So let's still brace up with our umbrellas and let's keep hydrated. Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
The proclamation of winning senators and party lists is once again postponed as the National Board of Canvassers await one remaining certificate of canvass. The National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, is pushing for the immediate release of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or RCEF. Telco companies assure that their service is unaffected by trade woes. And Iloilo School's Brigada Escuela is being held with a twist.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.